Did you know it's possible to use data and features from your favorite websites and apps in your Python projects using the power of APIs? In this beginner course, I will show you how to interact with APIs and use them in your own projects. But if you've never used them before, you might wonder, what is an API? API is short for Application Programming Interface. It is a way of interacting with a service like GitHub, Spotify, or Stripe through code. This means you can add awesome features from these services and others to your applications. You interact with almost all APIs in the same way. You send a request for some data, and the API returns a response with what you requested. In this course, you will learn how to send a request and read a response, how to use query parameters to ask for specific data, how to use authentication to prove your identity, and how to be wary of how much demand you are placing on the server. This course will focus on one API in particular, the GitHub API. Along the way, you will work on several small projects, including viewing all the available emojis on GitHub, filtering through Microsoft's repositories using query parameters, and using authentication to access your own user data. Although you will only be using the GitHub API, the code and techniques you use will be very similar when you start working with other APIs. If you're super excited to get started, you may wonder how to go about interacting with an API. In the next lesson, you'll make your first API call by installing and using the requests library. So you know what an API is, but how do you actually interact with one? In this course, we will be using a brilliant library called requests to do all of the heavy lifting for us. Requests is a very popular library for sending, as you might have guessed, requests, as well as receiving and passing responses from APIs. To install it, you are going to use pip in the terminal with the following command, pip install requests. Now you are ready to make your first request. To do so, you are going to use the requests.get function. You will need to provide a URL to an API. In this example, you will use the emojis API from GitHub. api.github.com/emojis. Switching over to the REPL, you're going to start by importing the requests library you just installed. Next up, you can save the URL to the emojis API as a variable. This is the URL you saw in the last slide. Finally, you can send your first request by using the request.get function you saw on the last slide. The only argument it needs right now is the URL of the API you want to send your request to. After hitting enter, you should receive a response. Hooray! You successfully sent a request and received a response from the server. You'll find out what this number means and more about the response in the next lesson. Exploring requests and responses. So, you've made a request and you've received a response from the server, but what are those two things? A request contains all the data you want to send to the API, including the URL you want to send your request to, the type of request you want to make. In the previous example, you were making a GET request, but there are others, and headers, which you will learn about shortly. A response contains all the data returned by the server. This includes the status code, the 200 you saw in your response, the actual data you requested, in our case a list of emojis, as well as headers similar to the request. So what are these headers? They contain data about the client sending the request, the server sending the response, the type of content that is being sent, i.e. text, HTML, JSON, what type of content the client can accept, and more. They can vary, but common ones are accept, which tells the server what types of content the client can accept, content type, which describes the type of content being sent, for example, JSON or PNG. User agent contains details about the browser and operating system making the request. Server describes the software the server is using. And authentication allows the request to carry passwords or API keys to gain access to private data. You can add your own custom headers, which is helpful for including extra information in a request, such as an authentication ID. These are normally prefixed with an X. Your response contains a status code which tells you how well the request went. If your request was a success, you will have seen the 200 status code. This means just that. The request was dealt with successfully. If you receive a 400 status code, then that suggests something about your request was incorrect. 401 means you aren't authorized to access that API. Don't worry, you will learn about authorization later. 404 is a status code you might have seen while browsing the internet. It means the link you were looking for couldn't be found. 405 means that the action you were taking is not allowed, for example, trying to edit a read-only piece of data. And finally, 500 means something went wrong on the API's end of things. In the last example, you made a GET request using the requests.get function. This is an example of an HTTP method. These are a set of predefined methods of interacting with APIs, which allow you to do key tasks. For example, instead of reading data, if you wanted to create a new object on the server, you could use a POST request. Moving over to the REPL, you can explore your own request and response. Once again, you are going to import requests and set URL to the Emojis API URL. But this time, instead of immediately calling requests.get, you should store your response in a variable so you can continue to access it. You can access the original request using the response.request attribute. Now you can see the parts of the request you looked at earlier: the URL, the HTTP method used, and the headers. You can even see it knows that we sent our request using the Python requests library. You can also explore the response. For example, you can access the status code and the headers. GitHub has sent a lot of custom headers, but amongst them you can find the content type header. We can extract this header in particular using the .get method, as headers is just a normal Python dictionary, which in the case of the Emojis API should say application/JSON, which means the data the server has sent is in the JSON format. You can access that data with the .text attribute, but to be even more helpful than that, requests can convert that JSON data into a Python dictionary to make it easier to interact with. You can do that with the .json function. Now you can interact with the emoji data like you would a normal Python dictionary. For example, if you want to find the link to the partying face emoji, you can. Did you notice the API returned every single emoji available? What if you want to be more precise about what you're asking for? Some APIs will let you filter and sort the returned data, and you will learn how to do this yourself using query parameters in the next lesson.